Afternoon, brother.
What's going on?
Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Forte, and I'm from Slidell, Louisiana, born and raised, but I live in Chicago now.
How long you been in Chicago?
Been in Chicago 15 years now. Sounds crazy, but yeah, I got drafted in 2008 by the Chicago Bears, and I've been here ever since.
That's what's up. Well, welcome home. And we appreciate all things that you've done for us. I've heard you speak a lot about God and spirituality throughout our conversations. At times, has your faith wavered?
I think so. Uh, if your faith hasn't wavered, I wouldn't say it's an authentic faith.
Okay.
I think you look at the Bible. There's many people who doubted, who had unbelief. Uh, there was literally a man who was asking Jesus to heal his son, and he said, "If you can." And Jesus said, "What you mean if I can? Like, do you believe?" He said, "I do believe, but help my unbelief." So I think an honest assessment of yourself is true authenticity. And so he assessed himself and was like, "Look, I believe, but like, help the unbelief that is in me." And so my faith has definitely, wavered before, especially when I was young, and I used to just think that religion was just a routine thing that you used to just, if you go to church, then me as an athlete, if I go to church, then I'm gonna ball out on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, whatever day the game was. So I came to find out that that's not necessarily true, and God is not a genie. He desires a legitimate, intimate relationship with you, and if you don't talk to him, you don't pray, you don't read his word. The word is called a living word because literally it's Jesus in word form on the page. So if you don't dive into that and read it and ask God for revelation to understand it, then you're not spending time with him, and that's not a relationship. Anybody you have a relationship with, you need to spend time with them. Otherwise, that's just an acquaintance. Like you just
know him, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't really know him.
Yeah, you know of them.
Of him,
You
yes,
don't
sir.
really know him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, this that church cut?
No, I gotta keep them together. Keep them together. Was that knowledge school you were speaking at?
Yeah. And they did a whole. They didn't get to do a field trip, so that was like the teacher's idea. But when people mentioned that, I got a good opportunity to push it to some of the kids that live up there, Bogus. They could get some understanding of like real life. Like everybody like it like this. Yeah.
It's always something different when like an athlete or somebody comes versus what they look up to now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because social media plays a big difference. And they upbringing that ours. Yeah. It's almost like you gotta bring them back down to reality. What you call it? Social media life ain't real. And I think they be looking at that, as if it's like so attainable and like the only thing that they can go for.
Do you think that gives them an advantage or a disadvantage? Because to me, that sounds like it broadens your imagination.
Yeah. What social media does?
The new age way of growing up.
Yeah.
We're pretty much the same generation, so I grew up outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of kids nowadays, they don't even know about playing it. They probably don't even know what it is. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Ding dong.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, because they do have a lot more information coming at them faster, so they're learning certain things faster.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm asking, do you think nowadays they have the better end of the stick than we had?
So I would say as far as if we talk of resource wise, definitely. Because when we was growing up, like you said, like we'd be outside, and like we had to kind of create your own entertainment
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of times, but like in the age of information that you got now,
Mm.
I mean, you got everything at your fingertips. So really,
Yeah.
there's a lot of folks, like, especially like kids today, like, if you're not doing nothing, like, you ain't really trying to do nothing. Because of all the information that's out there,
That part.
all the access to it. So,
Like you just don't want to do that.
yeah, you're not really, you don't want to apply yourself. And that's a big thing. Like, even when we was growing up, you would see cats with, like, ton of talent. And like, man, that dude got all kind of talent and whatever. Could be athletics, could be anything. But if they didn't apply themselves, then sooner or later it's just a waste, and you'll see it. And so I think the difference today, like you said, they do have it does broaden your imagination and like the scope of what they can see and accomplish
Mm-hmm.
if they actually put their mind to it and work hard. The only disadvantage I would say is the culture breeds like this microwave generation where they think that it can happen immediately.
Yeah.
It's the fast money, which is attractive.
Yeah.
But nothing like great that you're gonna build happens overnight.
Not yet. But it needs a foundation.
Yeah. But a lot of times as the youngest they look at the finished product, like it did happen overnight.
Right.
It's appealing to them, but that's the stuff that don't last. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants a fancy job, the rapper, the football player, stuff like that. But not too many people are aiming to be a dentist.
Yeah.
When the dentist is really making a bag too, you know?
Yeah. That's not the pop cool. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
So I played in the National Football League for a decade. That's a long time.
Yeah, for the NFL, yeah.
The people who live by me, the people who bought the houses by me, like surgeons, CEOs, businessmen, like they've been in that position 20, 30, 35 years.
Longevity, for real.
What I did was in 10 years. It took me 15 to get to that 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's got to last way beyond that. So you got to have some kind of education to make it last, but also so them people, the dentists, like you were saying, it don't shine.
Right.
It don't get the attention. We need to start looking at what gets the most attention, but what's most consistent.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Like long term. Like you become a dentist and you pull your practice up and then you end up owning the spot that you do work out of. That's generational work that you could build right there. And then even if you open up other offices and have other dentists work out of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the consistent part.
And that's why I say, like, nowadays with the information, because we all know a certain culture, we want to be flashy, we want to get it fast and all that.
Yeah.
But when now you can see it on social media. You can see somebody was a has-been from 2018.
Yeah.
And to us three, 2018 was like yesterday.
Yeah.
But to the kids, that was forever ago. You know what I mean? It's like you're a has-been to them in a sense. But it's like you can see, okay, if the guy didn't make the right decisions. So this is what I can do to actually make it a generational wealth thing. It's no longer where we want to be the young dumb motherfucker. That used to be a cool thing, to be the young dummy and all that. Nowadays, and that's what I like about the social media era, because you can see this kid, yeah, he may have been the bully, he may have been the guy who got it quick, but it burnt out quick. And these kids nowadays, because you do see it on quote unquote paper, because the internet's like your resume. So it's like, okay, instead of me burning out quick, let me get into real estate. Let me play it smarter, because now instead of me just being the big brute, now I want to be the guy, like you say, with the longevity. I don't want to just be here for 5 years. I want to get that 10, 20, 30 years, give it to my son kind of vibe. I think the internet brings that more in our face. Now you have to be accountable in a sense, because you can't just say, okay, I'm a barber. And okay, now I'm gonna go on your page.
Yeah, let me see your work.
Exactly, and you ain't got no work.
Yeah.
So now it probably been originally when it started, everybody finessing and oh yeah, I'm a barber, but I ain't got no work. But the internet been around a good 10 years now.
Yeah.
Now we can go back to what you were doing in 2012. What's going on?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I do like about it, because now a kid that we know who's in 8th grade now, we seen him when he's in 3rd grade, and he's looking at, damn, okay, my Instagram, what it's going to look like when I graduate high school, when I graduate college, you know? But
it's definitely a great access point to like all kinds of things, whether it be connecting with other people, looking at, or like inspiration wise. I think the only fault is when you got a young mind looking at it from a certain perspective, they may think that this is the only like option, like, or they may just put all their eggs in one basket. Like, I know plenty of guys who, you know, what, like when we growing up, the difference was like instead of social media, it was just the entertainment business as far as like sports entertainment or music entertainment. So like dudes want to be athletes,
rappers and basketball,
or rappers, and so even if you had talent, if you put everything into that one thing without broadening, you know, what you can do, your versatility, then, you know, you pretty much kind of set yourself up. Because if, you know, it's the only thing to believe in yourself and do all of that. You know, you gotta really be focused on your grind to see that come into play. And if it doesn't, then what do? You know what I'm saying? Like, plenty of people, like, I've seen more talented than myself get hurt in football. So now, okay, football's over with. Now what do? And then they be stuck. Or they play in the league for 8, 9, 10 years, and then it's a wrap. And then they just find themselves kind of spiraling out of control because they I don't know what to do outside of football. And that's a hard thing to deal with, especially like if you grew up, like I started playing at 7.
7, wow.
Yeah, you start playing at 7, and this is something you've been doing your entire life. So what do you do now that that's over with? You got to have some kind of passion that's inside of you. And where that comes from is the person who created you has to give you that passion. And if you ain't linked spiritually to that, ain't no hope.
That was gonna be my next question. When you said the person, I wasn't sure if you meant mother and father or the man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like if I invented something, and I said, you know, I invented a hat, and I said this is a hat. I'm the one who named it a hat. I'm the one who gave it its purpose, and it's supposed to be used in that purpose. Now somebody else take the hat and they say, nah, it's a fan. And they start fanning themselves. It may give you a little air and it's a fan, but it's not being used for its intention and its purpose. So it kind of looks silly.
Yeah, to the creator, yeah.
So, same thing with people and humans in life. Like, we've all been given a specific identity and like purpose in life. And it'd be like, and then when we think about when I brought it back to social media, is like when we look at what other people are doing and we like, and it's attractive, like, I want to do that, but you're not made to do that. That's like the refrigerator saying, I want to be the stove. It just don't work. It ain't gonna work that way. And a lot of times we waste a lot of time trying to force that, you know, that trying to force what we find attractive instead of what your purpose in life is to do. And it ain't no secret. Like, Mike, when you grew up, bro, your hands was blessed. Like, you knew I'm cutting hair. I'm gonna be my own boss. Yeah, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur outside of that and do all kind of things. And the experience of life or the journey, everything that comes into your life is for a reason, to make you grow up and to be where you're at today. So that same thing happened with me, you know. I mean, I first put the ball in my hands, I was like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I know there's a bigger purpose outside of that, not just to run the ball.
To change lives.
Yeah, because people are attracted to what you do, right? Exactly. So if I just ran the ball for my whole 10 years and then it was a wrap after that, that's an inconsequential life. Who wants to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Were you into, were you spiritual, did your family raise you in a spiritual way, should I say?
Yeah, grew up, like going to Sunday school, going to church and stuff like that. I think that happens to a lot of people. And it doesn't really become real until you experience God personally for yourself. Like, you can't piggyback, faith. You know, just because you were in a spiritual environment or you was in a good and positive environment, don't mean that you're taking in the knowledge or the wisdom that's there. When I was in Sunday school, through high school, even into college, man, I really didn't learn a lot. You know, because I just was in positive spaces but that didn't mean that I was sitting there absorbing it and applying it the right way. So that's one thing that is a facade, is that you put kids or young or youth in a positive environment that's automatically going to rub off on them, or that they're going to learn from it. It's got to be like almost like a one-on-one type of mentorship deal, or like a community type. And that's where like sports for me came into play, because you're in a group, you're in a huddle all the time, and you're in a locker room, and so y'all got each other to really grow with. But just because you be born, like you go to church and like study school, man, religion was like routine to me. It just became like, okay, if I go to church, then God will help me to play good at football or whatever. You know what I mean? Like a genie. And
that's the same with me. Like I went to church all my childhood, but I couldn't tell you what I learned until I started reading myself as an adult.
You gotta do it for yourself. You gotta get that understanding. And it's not like the first time you open it up too that it's all gonna make sense. There's some things that you gotta live through that'll teach you more than just reading.
My grandma used to make me go to church when I was a youngin', and it's all kids who didn't want to go. I was falling asleep, all that other stuff. But then when you grow up, it's like you find yourself back there. You know what I mean? I'm sure we got different paths and all that. You were willing to go with it in a sense. You know what I mean? It was kind of like they was making me go. But I realized when I got older, like, this is actually where I want to be. You know what I mean? I like what you said about the environment thing, because I take that on both ends, not just the bad over the good over the bad, because there are kids in bad environments that is not necessarily bad kids. And they're fighting, just like you're fighting to be attached to your faith. It's not just something that's going to be automatic. They're fighting to get away from the BS, you know what I mean?
That's right, and that's what ends up driving them too.
Yeah, exactly,
that environment, and they know, I got a chance to get up out of this environment if I apply myself the right way and use, pretty much the resources that God has put in front of me. And so you see that determination, like, where they don't let nothing deter them or distract them from what they're trying to attain. And that's the kind of focus you need in order to consider yourself, I guess, successful in the worldly environment. But really, your impact is more important than being successful. And what I mean by impact is like your impact on other people, because that's really what's gonna last. What you leave behind. And ain't nobody gonna remember like how many touchdowns you scored, and like they'll watch your highlights on YouTube every now and then or whatever. But really, when you encounter a person, or like and no matter how young or old they are, like when you impact their life and you change or how you made them feel, that sticks with them forever. Like there's been plenty of, and this is a testament to like being someone who, I guess, pours into other people's lives and stuff. My father coached Little League when I was young, and they got kids that were adults now, 30, 35 years old, will come up to him and still call him coach. They're like, Coach Gene, man, I appreciate the discipline from when we was in Little League and all that. And that's 20 plus years ago.
Yeah,
and that's the first thing they say. And it's like, see, that sticks with people, especially you, because when we talk about young people, if you see somebody like acting out, usually it's because they want some type of structure in their life. It's not because they don't like to be in an environment where you gotta do this or do that. It's really they're kind of crying out for that help. Like, I need structure and I don't have it, and so now I'm just doing whatever. And I guess the great thing about life is that certain things will bring that automatically, and then sometimes you just got to figure it out. Either you get forced to, or you kind of figure it out on your own. and it's up to you to like kind of learn from that lesson.
And grab your own ship in a sense to get to where your heart is telling you to go.
Yeah. I mean, it's a, life is crazy. You know, people often say that, but if you look at it from the right perspective, we try to simplify it too much. You know, people think that, oh, like because you follow God, it's you're docile, or like, you know, to have faith in God is like you soft or something like that. And that's not necessarily true. Or they simplify it to where it's like, oh, if I go to church and I believe in God, which is what I did when I was young, it was like that all is good in my life. You know, I ain't gonna never have problems because you know I'm on God's side. So that's never the case. That if you actually read the Bible, you know, it says, don't be surprised when you suffer because of Christ. You're like, if I suffer, this is Jesus talking. Like, if I suffer, then you follow me, you're gonna suffer too. And so we shouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, your perspective has to be different. So anything that comes into your life, you got to know that God okayed it first, because He knows, like, all right, this is gonna grow this person, or this is gonna develop them in a way that I want them to be developed. And if you're not ready for something, we be asking God for all kinds of stuff we ain't ready for, and then we want to skip the development phase.
I laughed a little earlier because you said people expect a person who's, I guess, God-fearing, if you will, to be docile.
Yeah.
But you're an ex-NFL player. I laugh because what's docile about an NFL player?
Yeah, it's a confrontational sport, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And you, I mean, it's a battle. Like, they compare, and I don't really like the comparison to battle and war and all that, because like when them cats go to war, like they don't. If you mess up, like, you don't come
home. Yeah.
You know, you mess up on the field, you watch the film, make an adjustment. If you don't, then obviously you probably get cut, but you're still alive. You know, but you know, it's a confrontational sport where it's like aggressive. It's modern day, like gladiator type of stuff, where you got grown men, 11 on the other side, trying to take your head off, and I'm trying to do the same thing to them.
300, 6'9".
I got kids. I'm trying to. This is how I feed my family. Yeah. And so when they come down on Sundays, that's how I eat.
It's up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's all over here.
Look, I just seen a different version of you when I said it's up. Yeah, you got back to that field. I see you. Yeah. Yes, sir. You mentioned something about the kids earlier, and how they act out of frustration because they don't have structure. This is one reason I actually picked up this camera to do interviews and things like that, because our city is a great city, and we have a lot of misguided youth, and they just want what you said. They just want the structure, but they're screaming it out like, okay, it's not direct verbally saying, okay, mom, dad, or whoever, you're not doing this right. But essentially, that's what they're saying. That's why they're wilding out like that. If we had better leadership, I believe it would turn out better. Kids wouldn't be out here as reckless as they are, should I say? But it's like, where do we find that? Is it just economics? You said success isn't always it, but like what in your opinion, what do you think is a way to get the Chicago kids down a better path?
Now, that is the golden, the $1 million question, and I think there's many answers to it, many facets to the answer, and I'm gonna say the first thing is, like, you know, Mike will probably be like, yeah, I mean, I expected that, but the first answer I would say is, like, the movement is spiritual. It's gotta be. It's spiritual. It's social. It's economical. It's political. It's all of that encompassed in one. And the problem is, or what kind of exacerbates the problem is that the culture is so disunified. And that didn't come from us personally, we have to go way back in history. Let's go back to the transatlantic slave trade.
I like where
They
you're
brought
going.
us over here. We had families. You know what I'm saying? If you ever been to Africa, I've been to Africa twice. Everybody is unified over there, and it's like everything is geared off the family unit, and that's not just a thing of Africa. That's how God made the humanity supposed to function. That's how He made us. Where you know, man, nobody's an island all on the own.
Exactly. No,
like, you need
it takes
people.
a village.
You need family.
Yeah.
You need other people. So you're supposed to, you know, thrive that way. And so if you look at the word community, unity is in the word. Like, there is no community without unity. So like, if you have unity with the people in the neighborhoods, and I think the enemy, and the enemy I mean by that is obviously I'm talking spiritually, but he uses people groups and other people to you know, do those things.
Music.
You had, you know, man, so it's deep. It's deep, bro. You know, it started with, you know, racism and people just looking down on black people. We come over here and the whole family unit is blown up, where you got slaves, you got families on the plantations. They selling the mom and dad to separate places, sell the kids away, raping the women. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing that we have families today.
That we still made it after all that.
You know what I'm saying? And people can easily be, oh, that was old. It ain't that
wasn't old. Your grandmother's grandmother.
Exactly. You can go back.
Yeah.
You can go back to
Exactly.
You can go back 3 generations, and somebody was
picking cotton.
Yeah, somebody was and they got their last name changed.
Emmett Till would have been my grandmother's age.
Yeah.
My grandpa, you know, stuff like that. So
So that stuff runs deep, man. And so we talk about the family unit. Like, that's how the family goes, that's how the community goes. How the community goes, that's how the city goes. How the city goes, that's how the state goes.
Yes, sir. So forth and so on.
Yeah, so forth and so on. So, like, it's no wonder they spend so much time trying to interrupt the family. And so, even if my family, like, saying other races, like, oh, okay, my family is straight, they may not want other family groups. They want to relegate them to a certain spot, and you can try to make it on your own over there. But and that's not everybody. I'm just speaking in broad terms.
Yes, sir. No
but it's hard, and so you do see kids that act out and they want to especially do all that because, you know, first of all, if you got a history of that's your history. And one thing that's messed up too is that it's hard for us to trace our history back.
You can't find the origin.
Further than, you know, slavery. You can do the DNA testing and things like that and kind of try to find, but like, you know, some people I've met and stuff, they like, yeah, my family, they come from Spain. And
you can go back 400, 500 years and shit.
This is, you know, 10th generation this and that. And I'm like, man, that's cool. I can't say that though. Because at a certain point, you know, like, my people from Louisiana, but, you know, it's all mixed blood down there. You got Creoles and Cajuns. And,
you can't find the origin at all. It stops when we jumped off that ship, and then certain people died either on the way or whatever.
That's right.
You said something as far as like how strong we are. Like, we made it through all that, and we still got families. It's a surprise, we still got families. Yeah. There is a force that's pushing us towards the negative, pushing us towards self-destruction in a sense. You know what I mean? I see it partially as our fault as well, because we perpetuate that same thing. You know, when you go into that store and you buy that bottle, you may only have $50 in your bank account. I'm not saying, you know, just certain people are still doing this. You know, and you only got $50. You know, and your kids need this, your kids need that, but you're under so much duress that this bottle kind of saves the day in that moment.
Yeah.
But then here comes tomorrow, and your $50 is broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we will say, like, okay, yes, it's a messed up situation, it's a messed up system, but we're the same people that's kind of like promoting the system. We're pushing the system higher.
So one thing that we need to fight as black people, as a culture, is stop anesthetizing our issues.
Teach me that word. You just showed me something new.
Anesthesia.
Okay.
Anesthesia.
Okay, that part.
Anesthesia gives you, and it could be, anesthesia just it masks the pain.
Yes, sir.
So local anesthesia, if you had surgery off your finger, they could anesthetize your hand. You'd be awake, but you don't get the pain. They could cut you open, all that. So we need to stop anesthetizing the pain or the issues or the problems that we deal with. So like you said, this may, cover the day or the issue to make me feel better.
Yeah, not even cover.
It's twice as bad because now I'm down and out even worse. And
my son is older now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when something, especially like if something devastating happens to us, we react emotionally. And if you can master this, you can pretty much write your ticket. You can master life if you can master your emotions. Because the way life really works is you act and then the emotions follow. Human beings, we emote feelings and then act.
Right.
And so what's controlling you? The outside circumstances make your emotions feel a certain way, then you go act. And if you living like that, you a puppet on the string. And so bro, if you learn how to master that, bro, I'm telling you, I'll be telling all the young kids that you learn how to master your emotions, you can master life. Cause you see, and like sports is I always bring stuff back to sports because that's a huge thing. Like when people talk trash, what they trying to do? They trying to get
throw you off, yeah.
Get in your head. So if you react emotionally, you probably get kicked out the game. You get you at a bad point in time. Y'all lose the game because of that. And so now, the outside circumstance is
affecting you. Yeah, and now you lost in total. You made me think about the game last night because I was watching Jimmy Butler and Williams in each other's face, and I knew what Williams was trying to do, but I knew Jimmy Butler was not even tripping on that because he focused. And as you say, as long as you control your emotions and stay focused, you're gonna get to where you need to be.
That's how you play the long game.
Yes, sir. Longevity again.
Anybody can react emotionally and try to pump their chest, act like they hard and tough and all of that. But eventually, somebody harder and tough, somebody
gonna replace your ass,
or you just miss a step, you gonna slip. So, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to life, when we talking about, if you can get your emotions in check, bro. I mean, and it's not. I'm not saying that lightly. It's hard to do that. It's hard to control your tongue. It's hard to, not react instead of act. And so, emotionally, there's times where you gotta pretty much, as the Bible says, you gotta die daily. And what does that mean? That means you gotta deny your own selfish will and do what you know you need to do. A lot of times the hardest thing is to do what you need to do instead of what you feel like doing. Man, you know how many times I woke up for 5 a.m. workouts? You think I wanted to do that? I needed to though.
Because you knew that tomorrow's Matt was going to be a better person for it.
Definitely. I could look myself in the mirror and not be ashamed because I did what I needed to do and not just what I wanted to at that moment.
It seemed like the majority of people can't see the tomorrow them. They can only feel what's going on right now. It feels like this right now. Not knowing that feeling is making you a better tomorrow, a better you tomorrow. So I want to know how can we get all of us to a better place to where we're not just getting that instant gratification situation going. But to me, that's the one major thing that's killing us.
Yeah, it takes discipline. It takes.
Do you think the church played a huge role with that discipline?
I think 50-50 church and sports because to play a sport you got to be so disciplined and regimented that you're on a routine. You got to do what I put into this is what I'm gonna get out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, and then same thing spiritually though. If I'm not just gonna sit here and be downloading wisdom from God. Like I gotta pray, I gotta read the Bible and
Faith,
ask Him.
faith without work is dead.
Faith without works is dead, bro. It's like it says it's like a body without breath. What good is the body if there's no air in your lungs? You're just a dead body sitting there.
The paperweight, essentially.
So I think those things would help us to be able to see the big picture, because everything from the outside wants to make you zero in and narrow in on what the main issue may be instead of looking at the big picture. Because if you focus on that little part, you're not gonna see the big picture. You just focusing on just this, and then you have no chance. And it's the same tactic from the book, from Genesis, from Adam and Eve. Everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve, right? Don't eat the apple, ate the apple, right? They got the whole paradise garden of Eden, right? They focused on one tree.
You got all this work.
You got all of that. You focused on what?
I like what you did. Tree. I like what you did right there. Yeah.
And that's how. I mean, it's the same. It's the same trick.
Yeah, it is.
It just comes in different forms. It may come in the form of a girl.
Exactly.
It may come in the form of a business opportunity that looks lucrative or looks like you're about to make a lot of money.
But you so charged off into it, you ain't even step back and really pay attention to the big. Yeah, you know what I mean? You just signed the papers.
They be like, got him.
Got it. And now you stuck, just like you say, like a girl. You make the wrong move, now 9 months later you got a little one, and what if this is the wrong girl to be attached to? Have you ever been hit by Ray Lewis?
Yeah, good question. I blocked him. I played against him. He was like in his later years, which I'm glad. He wasn't the same like monster from back when it was, his early Baltimore days. But
I heard he was a killer.
I played
both ways.
I got to say, I played against some of the I played against Papa Malu.
Ooh, Troy.
Played against Ray Lewis. My teammates was Urlacher and Lance Briggs.
Have you ever got hit by Urlacher though?
Yeah,
I'm talking about, is y'all really hitting in practice though?
Not like you would think, because we all trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
But like the other cats on Sundays, like you play. Like I played against a dude named Bob Sanders, who
I heard that name.
He was a safety, like one of the hardest hitting cats.
That's probably y'all know his name. Yeah.
So, Derrick Brooks, Hall of Famer.
Derrick Brooks, yeah.
Linebacker.
Who would you say hit the hardest of all people? That one hit that you like.
So I didn't purposely like the way I move. I never took a lot of hard hits, but Bob Sanders got me my first game. It was the welcome to the NFL moment. First game, I was balling too. But at that time, I had just scored like a 50-yard touchdown. I looked that up.
I'm definitely gonna look that up.
It's in Indy. They had their brand new Lucas Oil Stadium. I scored the first touchdown in that joint. I'm balling. I'm like, man, I'm doing my. I caught a screen and I'm like, linebacker. I hit him and I was like dragging him for extra yards. And I looked up at the last minute and he was coming like a missile. And I like ducked and he hit me right in the shoulder, underneath the shoulder pad. My arm was like hanging. I went to the sideline. I was like, yeah. I took like 2 plays, went right back out there though.
They took it personal. How you gonna score the first touchdown in their stadium? Yeah. And we next door, so we really beefing.
Yeah.
So the Chicago dudes got our first touchdown in our first stadium. He had to get you.
Yeah, it was playing because, and actually it was a rematch of 06, the Super Bowl where the Bears played Indy, and they Peyton Manning that was that Super Bowl when they won. The Bears.
You had just missed that. You were 2 years away from that.
Yeah.
Was it still the same, like, feeling that y'all can get back to the bowl when you got there?
Definitely, because it was basically the same
squad.
Same squad. Different parts and pieces, but the defense was carrying everything anyway. Lovey had that defense where, bro, if we scored 17 points, we could win a game. Because they wasn't going to score more than like 13 points a game.
Defense stuffing shit up.
Defense wouldn't let up nothing.
Did you ever want to go to another team?
Yeah, when I first was with the Bears, so after my third year, we went to the NFC Championship my third year. and we lost to the Packers, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And that season, in the first 3 years of my career, like I just outplayed. I was on a rookie deal, and I outplayed the contract. And so business-wise, hey, you come back to the table, like you outplay something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Overproduce.
outproduce
Yeah.
what you're expected of. Hey, it's time to re-up.
Yeah,
NFL, not
check.
for long.
Yeah.
Running backs. So it's time to go back to the table. So I went, you know, hey, I gotta pay up. Especially like I had like 10 catches in the game, the championship game,
Mm-hmm.
100 yards, like all kinds of stuff. I was like, I'm the only one out here, you know.
You a legend too. 10 years as a running back.
Yeah.
The average running back like 4-5 years.
I was like 2.
2.
Yeah.
You see, Zeke ain't really doing too much of nothing right now. He was a monster at first.
Yeah, he beat up too.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody will pick him up later on. But see how they running backs? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, they just it's like they just turn in and out. You know.
Who's the greatest running back of all time to you besides yourself?
To me, Barry Sanders.
My man, that's my dog.
If you look at what he did, because Barry played 10 years too.
I thought he quit early.
Yeah, like 10 years was early for him because of how productive he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like he still was producing like crazy.
Yeah, he definitely was.
And so back then, like you know, that's when they had longer, I think, tenure careers. Like Emmitt Smith played, you know, super long, like 16, 17 years, something like that. You know, dudes was they would keep running backs longer, like on that same team too. And so for him to go at 10, people thought it was early, but shoot, nobody know how his body was feeling.
Yeah.
You know, after giving everything with the Lions, and then you never, you know, I
never got no ball either.
Yeah, like the closest I got was I played in 2 playoff games in 10 years, and they all was in the same season.
Wow.
And we
wish y'all won. Yeah.
It was the NFC Championship, and you know, and that was the closest I got. So I'm like, dang, like, so I can imagine him 15,000 rushing yards in 10 years.
Oh, he was
nobody. You will never see that again. I can confidently say that.
AP was nice too, though.
AP was nice.
Yeah. But Barry Sanders is definitely my favorite. Everybody from Chicago always get mad because I don't say Walter.
Yeah.
But Barry, you have to me like he was going crazy.
At the like his style of work and stuff too. Like he was playing with the Lions, bro. Like the Lions are it seems like a lot of those teams are changing. Like the Bengals are actually good now, and like you know, but those teams they started changing when I got in the league too. The Lions started drafting good defensive players. Started to get real good on defense and making it hard to score. When I first came to the league, though, people was like, "Oh, we playing Lions today." Like they would get excited because they didn't think much of the Lions. But he played for that squad, and they knew he was getting the ball. But
you knew it, and you still wasn't touching him. That boy was so swift, like crazy.
No, very, very the GOAT for real.
Did you have was he your football idol growing up?
I liked a lot of different running backs because I was so in love and enamored by the sport, and I knew the position I wanted to play. Then I would watch all the running backs. So I watched Forte because he's from New Orleans. Yeah. And he would catch the ball. So that's when I was like, I know I need to develop not just running, but like catching to be. You just made me feel old when you say watching Marshall Faulk, because I remember watching. I'm over the field now. He's been out the league like 10 years probably. Yeah, longer than that. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm gonna let you guys finish up, and we're gonna talk. Talk a little later. I appreciate you. Yeah. Yes, sir. Peace and love.